All gigafactories side by side after 1 month of progress, August to September. I'm Brian. Welcome to My Tesla Weekend. So this is a slightly extended version of the show that I make for Lars once a month over on Best in Tesla. And if you're not watching Lars, well, I don't believe you. But just in case, go check him out. I will put a link for yous to watch. So with that said, I'm just going to go through it, and you can see how it's done. And by the way, yeah, you get to see a little bit of how the sausage is made. And this version is longer than the one that goes up on his channel, because I try to keep his real tight. And there's always more to say. So here we go. Hey, Lars. Well, in Shanghai, part of the loading and logistics lot has been torn up and replaced with grass. That's an interesting choice. The utility building in the northwest corner we've been following looks done. Probably won't have to talk about that anymore. There is a new little extension to the building along the south central corridor. I'm not sure what it's for. Doesn't really matter, but it's there. The takeaway in Shanghai is that production is up. We've seen a lot of ships going out. This is all reflected in my production numbers, which you've probably already seen, since this is probably going out on Sunday, and the production numbers are known. Over in Berlin, there's a lot more work. The piling in the north, it's got more piling is done. The concrete is going in. It's, I'd like to say getting close to done, but we might have another month or two before they start building on this. In the parking at the south end, there's chargers. That's great for the employees. And the south parking area is doubling in size. It's extending to the east. The road is being widened, which is great. And just south of the Motorworks building, there is a structure going up. We've seen the concrete pad go in, and now we've got a structure. The retention ponds are shaping up nicely. And in the northeast, there's new grading, both here and also over here. These areas are going to be, who knows, parking, loading, logistics, more sprung structures. The point is that the factory is expanding constantly. Adding on to this, there's more work being done over by the railway. Looks like there's good capacity for the roads there, and they're making it even better. The retaining wall by the 4680 building is done. And the roof of the 4680 building is getting cleared off, meaning they're pretty much done with that. All the work now is going on inside. There is still a chance that they could enter production of battery cells by the end of the year, but it looks like some of the equipment that was going to go there has been diverted to Texas because the incentives to build batteries in the US are just too juicy to pass up. In Texas, the south parking lot is being torn up a bit. Why is that, you ask? Well, apparently they might be building something here. That'd be exciting. The paint on the building has kind of begun. These may just be more test areas, but we'll see. The southwest loading area is done-ish. It's certainly in use. The parking lot is a lot fuller than we've seen it. Now, these two videos are comparing a Sunday versus a weekday, which isn't quite fair, but there are more cars, employee cars in the lot, than usual. The loading lot is in use. It used to be to the south of the building. Now it's primarily over here on the far east side. The warehouse on wheels area has expanded. This is where they store all kinds of goods that are being about to be used in the factory. And there's grading north of the cathode building where they've removed a pond. And the cathode building itself has a ton of walls, a ton of floors, and a lot of interior work. And yeah, because I've got my computer back now, I will be counting this in a couple days. There's new grading beside the cathode building, just to the west, and the substation has its foundations going in. So that's going to be exciting. That should move. By next time, next update, there should be a lot to see. The solar expansion on the roof is going great. They've switched brands. They ran out of solar panels from the one brand. You can see a slight color difference. Won't be too noticeable over time. And there's more in weight, ready to be installed in pallets, both here and over here. The loading on the southeast side, that's looking great. It's just about in and done. And the pavement that was torn up on the west side, that's been paved over, and it looks fantastic. So we'll see you next month. Back to you, Lars. Yeah, that's how I do it. That's how I do it. Yeah, that's how it's done. So yeah, I got my PC back from the shop. We're back in business. I'm not using it right now to make this video because I started this before I picked it up, and I'm not changing horses mid-race. So onward and upward from there. That means this week, oh my gosh, so busy. I've got the live stream on Friday for AI Day 2. If you're watching this on the main channel, you've already seen it. We've got the production numbers coming out probably Sunday. I've got I've got interviews with some really cool people coming up. I've got footage from Fully Charged. I've got the cathode building to do. I am behind schedule, and I am very excited to get back into it. So what did I miss or misunderstand? Leave your thoughts in them comments below. Let me know what I missed, you know, the juicy stuff, all that goodness. So stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, on the flippity, a dippity, a doopity dop. And thank you for hanging out. So here is your time and a half overtime bonus for joining me for this, the prolonged outro of the show. Had a couple minutes, figured I'd throw this in. Daniel, great commenter, a regular on the channel, says, don't get me wrong, spelling out the Tesla logo on the roof and solar panels is definitely worth doing, but they don't have the maximum space on the roof being used for solar panels. So does this mean that they are producing as much photovoltaic electricity as they can handle or need? So the first answer is no. The rooftop solar will not produce enough electricity for the factory once fully ramped. My estimate, I think, was like 17%. But they've got a lot of ground level space available for additional solar panels. And one way you could look at it is to say they should have covered the entire roof, skip the logo. But I look at it the other way. I flip it and say, this roof has more solar panels than all the other Tesla factories combined. That's a net win. I think, were it not for the logo, they wouldn't have even put this many panels up. It's a lot of panels. It's like 70,000 panels. I don't think they'd have done it. And there's plenty of room on the ground where it's about as cheap. You know, put it over the parking. Make canopies for the employee parking area. Shade is nice, and it cools everything. It's just wonderful. Everyone needs shade, especially in Texas. So, yeah, I think it's still a net win. So, it's a good point. But the bigger thing is, this is a company that doesn't do any advertising, certainly not in a traditional sense. So think of how many flights go in and out of Austin International Airport, Austin Bergstrom, every year. 50% of the flights going in or out will be able to see the Tesla factory. 50% of the window seats, 50% of the passengers will be able to see. Regardless of the direction of approach, half will be able to see it, and they will see the world's largest billboard, Tesla, the logo, spelled out in letters 800 feet high. I mean, that right there is worth something. And since you're spelling it in negative space, technically, it's free. So that's your time and a half overtime bonus. Thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to you soon.